The US is coming down hard on altcoins. And, let's be honest, we've probably had one of the worst altcoin days in a while. We have seen this before. We have seen these big crashes, but now it's crazy. We have many altcoins that are starting to go below the FTX crash low. We actually have Bitcoin still sitting on support at the moment. We had this little wedge last week where we said whichever way we break is the direction Bitcoin's going to go. We decided to go to the downside. We brought in some big volume. Bitcoin, yet again, held the $25,000 level, which is pretty good. But ultimately, what it's caused was dominance to completely spike to the upside, causing a very big crash within the altcoins. And now the big question is, firstly, we have Bitcoin losing the 200 weekly moving average on the close. We do have RSI reaching the bottom, though. We are still holding a horizontal level over here. We have Ethereum still holding the main moving average, and we have Ethereum holding the main trend. So what you basically have right now is you still have Bitcoin and Ethereum holding the major levels, and you have the altcoins absolutely getting destroyed. And I think the big question, I know how you guys feel. This was crazy. I looked at my portfolio and I was like, whoa, okay, what's happening? I spoke to Ron. He's like, this is not good, because basically the US are attacking altcoins, and there might be a point where you're not going to be able to trade much of the altcoins within the US. And now obviously highlighting the big question that getting out of the market, I think, is ridiculous to think like that right now, just because where we at and what's happened within the market. But the big question is, do we move our altcoins into Bitcoin and ETH? I think that's the big one, because we can see the strength within these two tokens. They're holding really strong. It's nice to see how Ethereum is holding just as well as Bitcoin, if not better. And now the big question is this the end? Is it the end for MATIC, the end for BNB, the end for Cardano? There's many different tokens because they are crazy range lows. So we're going to go through all the tokens. We're going to make some decisions to think, should we start getting into Bitcoin? I do think you need to shift your brain slightly this week. You have an incredibly wide variety of this volatile market, right? All these tokens moving in this crazy range. We got to be traders for the next few days. That's one thing you do need to understand. You can trade a lot of this volatility. So I'm going to be focusing a lot this week within trading the markets, but we do have to make some big decisions when it comes to our larger part and our longer term part of the portfolio. Is it time to get into Bitcoin and ETH? Big show coming up. No more wasting time. Let's get into it.
Click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper.
Crypto Banter fam, hope you had a fantastic weekend. That was a brutal one. That was a crash that just came out of nowhere. And when I saw the bubbles, I was like, whoa, altcoins got destroyed. That means Bitcoin must be at 22,000, right? And I opened the chart and Bitcoin was still sitting above the 25,000. So this was very clear that this was an altcoin attack. And a lot happened within the altcoins. Now, again, we're probably sitting on a crazy fear. If you look at the fear and greed index, it's saying neutral right now. But what you got to remember, fear and greed, it's taking a lot in Bitcoin's consideration. And when it comes to Bitcoin, it's actually okay. Like Bitcoin's still above $26,000 right now. Ethereum is still above the 1,700. These coins are doing pretty good. Obviously, the altcoins are hit really bad. And now it's a big question, opportunity or disaster. Is it a time now to FOMO your altcoins into Bitcoin? Is this a long-term problem? And I think that's a big thing. We can see the SEC is coming down hard within altcoins and securities and all these sort of things. And now the question is, what's going to make the altcoins recover? What is going to slow down this Bitcoin dominance as it's really started to rip to the upside now? And we do have the Bitcoin dominance breaking a range that it hasn't been in for it hasn't gone out of for the last 2 to 3 years. And let's be honest, the last 2 to 3 years have been great with altcoins. You know, Bitcoin's been amazing, been doing great growth, but ultimately altcoins have been the ones that have really been shining. And now we're starting to break this long-term range where it's sending dominance up for a while. Now, we had a few of the scenarios when we spoke about this dominance going up was possibly the ordinals, you know, everyone's starting to use the Bitcoin blockchain, starting to build on Bitcoin, all these sort of things. You know, this could be a possibility for the dominance to spike up for a little while and possibly, you know, extend Bitcoin's run. Because remember, market cycles, they will always remain the same. The only hard thing about it is managing the time of when it shifts to the next. And we know it always goes Bitcoin, ETH, altcoins. And ultimately, this year, we've been waiting for the distribution of Bitcoin into altcoins. But ultimately, what it's basically meant to us that this little Bitcoin rally is going on for a while. It's going on for a while longer and a lot more focus on Bitcoin. And I think the big reason for us was to focus on and be like, what would create dominance to finally go back to 53%, if not 58%? And now we're starting to see all the attacks on altcoins, and we see how people are still looking at Bitcoin as a safe haven. Definitely. A lot of people are panicking out of altcoins into Bitcoin. Now, is that a big mistake? I think that's one of the big questions we're going to look at, because you're basically selling off on a huge low, right? You're selling off when altcoins have literally lost 20-30% within Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks. And now you're looking to panic out into Bitcoin. But I think it would make sense, obviously, if this becomes for the next 6 months, where it's just Bitcoin, ETH, and the alts will just take their time to recover. So we've got a lot to talk about, guys. And there's a lot of trading setups. I think we got to zoom out and be like, we have a very crazy volatile market now. And if you can catch the trades right and you can get a good rally within your trading, I think you can make a lot of good cash as well. So I think this week, we did a live trading session last week, which was great. A few stoppages, amazing. I was so grateful when I saw those bubbles. I don't know about you, though, but I was so grateful when I saw those bubbles on, was it Saturday? Yeah. Saturday, that I had stop losses. I was like, something told me even at the end of last week to anything that's important to you, any trading portfolio, put stop losses. And I woke up on Saturday, stopped out on a lot of my portfolios, and I was extremely grateful. So again, you're still going to have many opportunities within this game. Keep learning from these dumps. Now, guys, first thing, smash the subscribe button if you're brand new to the channel. Smash the like button. We have Banter Bubbles. So make sure you've part of Banter Bubbles. Go get it on your app store. Download Banter Bubbles. Incredible. You can see all the massive moves and that the tokens are making on the day, weekly, monthly. There's even chats within it, so you can see why fundamentally why this token's pumping, why it's dumping. It's quite crazy to see how some of these tokens are recovering pretty good. And what's interesting is obviously we got the whole XRP thing still going on, and XRP, wow. That's XRP. Like if we look at this, XRP, hardly nothing. Like yes, it dumped, but ultimately still sitting at 52 cents. So it's about now paying attention to the tokens which are firstly surviving, but obviously the ones that got crashed really hard. You know, we have Solana, we have many of them that got hit really hard. And I think we're going to speak about these major levels that we're looking at. What was the next thing? OKX. OKX. Let me just get this up here quickly. OKX. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's the unlocks. It's the unlocks, the rewards. So if you sign up below with the link below on OKX, guys, you get these boxes, these mystery boxes. Okay, and you'll see if you deposit. So I just want to make sure the things are right over here. Make a first-time deposit of $50 to receive a second mystery box worth up to $10,000, guys. You can boost your winnings to 30,000 in the contract voucher by trading. The more times you trade, the higher rewards you will get. So we have OKX. You sign up below. A great promotion there at the moment. And let's get back. Okay. So, guys, I think let's jump straight in and let's chat about this craziness that has happened. So we have Bitcoin still sitting at basically $26,000. We have lost the 200 weekly moving average on the shorter time frame on the weekly, which is creating a little bit of concern within Bitcoin. But ultimately, not crazy danger yet with Bitcoin. We still have the amazing support trend, which is still indicating that, yes, we're having a little temporary bounce now, but there is still a possibility of coming down to the 24,000, which would be this horizontal support over here and the support trend line as well. So where Bitcoin's holding right now, it did yet again another double bottom. So it's still holding this very important level, and it just shows the amount of buying that's happening at this area over here, if not altcoins being switched into Bitcoin at this area. So when it comes to Bitcoin still looks pretty good. Now, yes, we do have the concern of ultimately Bitcoin losing the 200, which is important for us to reclaim very soon. We have had this time before. We've had the little breakthrough and the little fake out. So it's important now that if we hold these horizontals, we want Bitcoin to make its way up. So what we want to see over here is, as long as Bitcoin is holding these horizontals, guys, 24,000, there is still a bullish play. There is still a bullish momentum. We are still holding that current trend. It's obviously the altcoins, which are the ones getting destroyed. But when it comes to Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's getting to the cheap-ish range to definitely DCA into some Bitcoin. I think we now know again that as much as we love altcoins, Bitcoin will always be one of the safest assets to get within crypto. So don't be afraid again if you're seeing that Bitcoin is at major supports on weekly. And we do have the RSI getting down. Now, guys, I don't know what the reason would be, but basically it is indicating that we are getting to a temporary low within Bitcoin when it comes to the RSI. And it is indicating that if we hold these levels, there is a bullish bounce coming. Now, we've seen these huge days with these 20, 30% that come within altcoins. And therefore, what always happened a few days later is ended up getting a possible double-digit day to the green side. So I know it's very, very crazy, but you do need to sit now and make decisions to be like, where can I either add to my portfolio or shift around in my portfolio? Because if we do hold these zones, things will look good. Now, if we do bounce, I do think there's a possible little wick still coming down. But if we do bounce in these areas, first thing is to reclaim the 200 weekly moving average, the 26,500. After that, very important to get the higher high on the weekly. And that higher high will be this area over here. So what you really want to focus on this week is to simplify all your charts and to not create a mess and a confusion to panic you out even more. Let's not deny that it's very overwhelming right now and the emotions are riding high. So what I want you to do is just simplify the Bitcoin chart for yourself and to basically know that the 24,000 is support. As long as we hold those areas within this week and that RSI resets, things are still good for Bitcoin on the bullish side. And then what's important is if the bounce happens, I want you to go mark this high over here, which is the 28,400. And that's where we want to be above on this next bullish push to the upside. So from here, we want to see us reclaim that area over there. And then ultimately we can see if we do break the tops or if we do the lower high here, and then there is big trouble. So we'll definitely be playing out the two major scenarios. But for now, just jump in on Bitcoin and just monitor the shorter time frame. Now, what we do have over here, guys, and this is why I think there might be a little bit of a bullish bounce coming within today. We're starting to see Cardano wake up. We're starting to see Fantom wake up. We're starting to see a lot of this happening. Is we have this 4-hour trend over here. So you put this 4-hour trend over here. If we close outside of this 4-hour trend, Bitcoin's going to attempt. It's going to attempt to make its way to the upside on the shorter time frame. Therefore, if you start looking at the altcoins now, you start thinking, whoa, okay, if I look at Cardano as things speak over here, what we have is these huge gaps. Now, Cardano was holding this massive support area over here, okay? And you can see these massive gaps. So now what you're starting to see is we basically had these little resistances over here, and now it's starting to get through this zone. So what I think could happen, okay, is I think on the shorter time frame that you can start to get a little bit of this slow grind to the upside. I do think when we get to the critical areas, and what the critical areas will be is you take your Fibonacci from the top to the bottom to the 618 areas, 618 to 786. I think we're going to have a little push to the upside within the altcoins. I do think at that point, if we don't reclaim the high, I do think they're going to shake us out again. So as traders, you want to time them correctly, but ultimately you want to get any of the tokens that are breaking these previous highs over here that are starting to enter this gap. Now, remember with trading, these gaps shows when price speeds up, when you're going to start to get an increase within price action to the up or the downside. And that's why you saw as soon as we lost these major areas over here, there was a huge ass gap. And all of a sudden that gap accelerated price very quickly. So you're going to learn to respect when it comes to TA, understanding the gaps, that you could see that even there's a gap up here, that if you had to get through that area, how quickly we would accelerate to this area at the top over here. So it's the same thing now, but focusing the other way around. Where now, these altcoins took a hit, but this could be a great opportunity to make some trades and to make some short-term cash. Now, I want to go through these quickly with you guys before we jump into the long time frame. Look at Fantom. So Fantom, I think, is coming to, this is trading, guys, trading, because I don't think you're going to make much money on your long term for a little while. Unless we break through the major areas. I think the money you're going to make now is focusing on not paying attention on where everything's going long term right now, because you don't want to panic yourself out. It's more about trading what the market's giving. And if you look at Fantom over here, it's got these little two highs, okay? Basically a little double top over here. If it gets through, so I think it's going to range here a little bit, but if it gets through here, it's going to do very similar to what we just saw with Cardano, where we start this little climb up. I do think when it gets there, same scenario, I think we're going to get hit again to the downside, possible higher low. We'll see how it goes. But ultimately, you got to pay attention to this little move over here. You got to remember that you're joining crypto to make money. So you got to use it for the volatility. Up or the downside, you're getting volatility. And if you look at a simple trade like this, it is hard for me to short. It's very hard for me to short when you've just had a token that's come down in the last 2 weeks up to 34%. And now you're looking to short. Be very careful, because there are a lot of late short comers that are happening right now, and they're trying to short this current range at the moment. And at some point, what you're going to do and what you're going to see is these gaps indicate a price acceleration, but what it basically means is a short squeeze. I do think there's a short squeeze coming. I think everyone's so bearish right now, especially within the altcoins that got, I would say, like over damaged, like exaggerated. I really, really do, through panic. And therefore, for me, I do think a short squeeze is coming. So pay attention again within Fantom. I think if you can get the breakouts over here, tight stops, very important. The stop losses are a bit annoying at the moment. They've been stopping me quite a bit within the weekend. But ultimately, I know where I'm fighting. So as long as I get stopped a few times here, as long as my trade is in, by the time I get above these areas, things will start to flow very nicely. And then from that, you just keep moving your stops above the lows. And I would focus on taking TPs. Now, how big will these trades sort of be? If you look at this over here now, guys, you're looking at 15, 20% trades. You know, these on spot is great. Even spot can make you money right now. That's what tells you very much about this volatility of how you can take advantage. And even 1, 2, 3x leverages can make you a lot of cash right now on these dips. So what you got to do again, before I jump into everything, you need to understand that you're always going to run 2 portfolios in this market. You're going to run a trading portfolio and you're going to run a long-term portfolio. Your long-term one right now looks like crap. Mine looks like crap too, and we're going to start making those decisions. But your trading portfolio should be ready to go, because you're getting volatility. You saw last week, how terrible was it to trade this? This was terrible. It was really hard to trade this, really hard to trade this. Now you have the opportunity to trade this. So I think Fantom is one of the great favorites right now to be looking at trading for the day. We even have one as in MATIC. So you can see this huge gaps over here. Boom, there's the gap to the upside. And again, if you look over here, if we get through this high over here, you could see that there's a nice little push to the upside. And if you look at percentage wise, you know, you're looking at another 16, 17%. So don't take this volatility lightly. You can really make some good gains when it comes to the trading part of your portfolio as things are happening at the moment. But let's quickly jump into, before I jump back into the trades, let's go through what's happening at the moment, long time frame, and what do we do with our higher parts of our portfolio. So what you're starting to see, I'm jumping to Fantom again on the higher parts. RSIs are flatline, guys. Flatline to the downside. It is crazy right now to just flake out of the altcoins. But I do think it is time to start making decisions with some of them. Now, I've been prepping for alt season, and that throughout the whole year. I definitely have. And the worst scenario played out where, not that the whole market came down, but Bitcoin's just been overpowering. And now we're going to start looking at this long-term portfolio and see what we do. Now, I do think it's crazy to get out of my alts today, straight into Bitcoin. But what I do see is I do think that there's a bounce coming. I think it's either going to happen within this as the capitulation. I think this is a capitulation within altcoins. And I do think there's going to be a response. Now, out of this response, it's either going to happen from here, if not slightly lower, if Bitcoin does decide to go to 24. If the highs don't happen on these altcoins on the next move over here, I am shifting a lot of my altcoins into Bitcoin, and I'm prepping for the long run. Because what it basically means is, if this was not an altcoin capitulation, then I don't know what is. If this was not the time for volume to come into altcoins and to have this dominance turn, then I think it's still a while until we're going to get that. So if we bounce up here and we don't make the major levels within the altcoins, for me, it is time to get out of 90% of my altcoins and into Bitcoin and ETH, because it basically means that this is not going away for probably the next few months. All these attacks, everything is going to happen. There's even a possibility of BNB losing something crazy, and I am very nervous for it if it does happen. Because now what we have is BNB losing that trend, which I spoke about on Saturday. We've officially lost it now really strong. We're just above the 200 weekly. Okay, so I'm starting to keep my blinkers on. But guys, the very scary thing is, if it comes down another, let's actually put the percentage over here. If it comes down, now I'm not looking at BNB as a token to trade. I'm looking at Binance to be like, what is this? Okay, now if you see over here, if it comes down another 20% and it loses this low over here, I don't see any support all the way down to the $30 to $40 mark. Now, for me as a BNB holder, I don't hold too much BNB, but I'm looking at Binance now and we'll be like, okay, you're getting all these attacks, everything's happening. Like, what is this scenario over here? So this makes me very nervous, guys. And what I mean by that is, if I play this out chart-wise, it should do something like this. Either this is the low, we should bounce up, test, and this. If this plays out, something bad gets added to all of this fuel at the moment. And for me, is if BNB from this pump does not get back in here, like this again just shows me that I need to shift my altcoins into Bitcoin. Not that I don't believe in the altcoins. I just think it's an extended run of Bitcoin to the upside. I think they're going to attack harder than ever. We spoke about this morning, actually, on the morning call, where is this one of the worst days that we've ever seen in crypto, the worst attacks that we've ever seen in crypto. And that's the thing. If we don't recover and break things to the upside very quickly and make these areas, this could be one of the worst scenarios for altcoins. And all that basically means is it's extended altcoin run. Extended does not mean that Bitcoin and ETH are not going to do incredibly well. It's just about they coming down really hard. So for me, this matches the same thing by looking at BNB and looking at all of these altcoins. Is if BNB on this bounce, I do think it's going to bounce. Either the low is in right now, the temporary low, or we go another 10% lower, and that's if Bitcoin goes to 24,000. Then I see a bounce. But if we don't get past this trend line on BNB, and we don't get past the higher highs on altcoins, I'm shifting 90 to 95% of my altcoins into Bitcoin and ETH. I don't think today is the right time to do that. I think they're catching you. It's one of the biggest traps yet again, where they're going to trap you. And I think you need to really become strong with understanding your mentality state when these things happen. When these huge drops happen is not the time to be doing it straight away, but you need to now pay attention that, whoa, if things don't happen on the next push up, I do need to make those decisions. Now, guys, I still think Bitcoin is going to do really well, but this is very important to understand where we're at right now, because if this plays out, it's showing something with Binance. Will there be something happening to CZ? Will there be something happening with Binance? And if we add that to the fuel now, this creates huge disaster. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is you go to simple charts like MATIC. Okay, and you look at all of these scenarios where these are really good altcoins, but we got to be honest here, because firstly, where MATIC has bounced now could probably be one of the best entries, right? If everything just had to be okay and some reason we get a catalyst for Bitcoin pump now. Because my big question is now, with all of this going on, who is buying altcoins? And that's the big thing. Who's going to buy right now with all this panic and fear? But we have been here before, and it might be in the big reasons. But what's really scaring me again is now we have MATIC, and now it's your time to bounce, MATIC. It's your time to move. It's your time to break out of these trends and to really start to get moving again, okay? If that plays out, cool. That was capitulation in altcoins. But if this goes up here now and we don't get a lower high and this decides to do this, we have another scenario as well. And this is where we're seeing with a lot of altcoins, is we have this huge gap over here too. If we decide on this next pump over here that's coming at any moment and we get a lower high and we lose this trend, it now comes down to the same area of what we're speaking with BNB. And if you look at that, guys, we have a gap that's another 90% to the downside from here. Now, guys, I'm not bearish. We know I'm not bearish. We know I like trading bullishness and all these sort of things. But ultimately, I got to pay attention that if the alts don't do this stuff, we can have MATIC going all the way back down to the 5 cents. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm basically saying that this is how bad things can get if it continues like this and we don't have any love within altcoins. Now, I still think if this plays out, if we can get out over here and we can buy anywhere in these ranges over here, you're going to make a lot of altcoins and it's going to create good opportunity for the future. But it's about being realistic now to be like, when is the only time you ever shift your long-term portfolio? When you're going to make a lot more altcoins, or you're going to be able to farm a lot more. So a lot of these coins are showing this really bad scenario. And I'll look at Cardano as well. Right now, where it's bouncing, probably one of the best opportunities, right? Any spot entries here with a stop makes sense. But again, if this goes up here and it does not make and it decides to do this, you're looking at another 50 to 60% to the downside, which is crazy, 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 crazy. So guys, we have to pay very much attention to that. So what I think with a lot of these altcoins, if you go now on your weekly and your stocks, a lot of them are getting to the bottom. Fantom is right at the bottom right now. I think Fantom is a great, yes, the markets are down and it's scary, but for an opportunity to load to your portfolio, I'm definitely personally myself buying some Fantom here. But knowing that if I don't get the next higher high, I'm out. But in that time, what I do see is if Fantom on the weekly goes back to these areas, you've got 60 to 80%. And only if we don't get above those areas is time to get out. It means it's prolonged. Now, I want to speak about the bullish scenario because I know we're speaking, it's very scary and all these sort of things. This could be the capitulation for altcoins. This definitely could. The volume that came in and that it's literally going for altcoins in specific, for me, is getting to a point where this is as bad as it gets for altcoins, as bad as it gets for the attacks, as bad as everything basically happens. And this could end up being a huge, huge, huge opportunity. Because if this does decide, you got to look at your portfolio and be like, realistically, how long am I holding these tokens for? And if this decides to bounce and make the higher high, you literally got yourself one of the best entries that could end up you literally 10xing your account or getting crazy results to the upside. So it is that side as well. And this is why I would basically run on the 50-50 rule. If I had some spare cash for my long term now, I'd probably enter 50% now. I'd probably enter 50% now and then wait to see if we break these trends, confirm that this is a low, and I can always get the retest a little bit later. But the fact that I got the early entries in now is if it goes here and I get the retest and I buy some more, at least it will balance my average price a lot more within the next run. Because as much as this is scary, the FTX thing was scary, but the FTX was probably one of the best times to load up, right? It was a time where everything was coming down and it was very scary, but it was a huge opportunity. So there is very much a bullish scenario because if you look at Bitcoin here, guys, if Bitcoin holds this level here and it breaks and it starts to go, yes, you're still going to have dominance flying to the upside, but ultimately this could be an incredible place for us to load up within the altcoins and to make the gains. So dominance, here's this here upside. At some point, again, guys, it's coming. At some point, it does come at any single stage. Now, let's quickly go through a few of these. Atom, last trend. Same thing with Atom. We have this huge gap. So now, same thing. All of these trends that we lost, I want to see us get back in that trend. If we go there and RSI comes up, so you want to use your RSI over here, RSI makes its way up, boom, boom, gets to the top, and we are not past here, it is time. It is time to get into Bitcoin and ETH. We look at things like Link, which I thought was so cheap, and I still think it's very cheap. And the RSI is completely tanked at the bottom. But this literally lost the FTX low. There we go. Was the big crash. Where was it? Over here. There was the big crash over there. We've lost that now. Now, for me, there's two things here. Yes, we came and we tested support, and it's scary because this maybe opens the opportunities of us coming down to $3-4 within Chainlink, which I do think is a bargain, by the way, for your long-term portfolio. So either this little weakness crack over here is to indicate, okay, whoa, we are coming more down, also still getting hammered, or if you look at everyone that was longing Chainlink over here, where would their stop losses be? Right below there, we send it down, we hit all their stops, and we go. So if Chainlink decides to close above this area of 5.5 this week, I think it's incredible again. I do think this can go test the top ranges, and you're looking at a 80-100% trade within the shorter time frame. So you got to look at these things and be like, are they trapping everyone with altcoins? Because I can guarantee that every single one of you behind your screen right now is considering turning into Bitcoin and ETH. Is this a trap? Are they trapping us to get out of the altcoins? You know, it's a massive thing. And we look at things like AVAX. Whew. AVAX, $10, literally hit $10. We're now sitting at $11.50. It came all the way down. It hit $10 exact. But here's the scary part again. Either a huge opportunity. This is a huge support. This is why I would probably enter 50% of my portfolio here. We have RSI completely reset. 50% of my capital, sorry. But what we do have again, if this goes up, lower high, and it does this, you got AVAX coming to $3 to $4. Crazy, 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 crazy within many of these alts. I saw you actually had a nice wedge. This looks good. This looks really good. So this is Aptos. Aptos. I like this because this is a really nice structured chart. Guys, I really think you should be just shifting your head, and now is probably the best time to take any little bit of money, maybe $10, $20, whatever you're comfortable with, and learn how to trade. Learn how to trade, because this is probably the best market to do so. So you have this nice little wedge over here, and Aptos for the traders. This looks like a very good area of us hitting the bottoms here too. Now, same thing, you have the possibility. I actually like these wedges because it goes up, lower high, boom, we're coming down. So there's a long for you, and there's a huge ass short. Because what I'm trying to say, you guys, is if the bad scenario plays out and we don't get a higher high on altcoins, we're shorting, guys. We're shorting big. Because I think even Bitcoin's going to come down to way lower areas. You love the show. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm here, guys. We'll survive it. You know, if I had to, my long-term portfolio, I could have literally bought like 3 cars, though. Like 3, 4 cars, and I'd be in the same position that I am right now. That's crazy. So Aptos, focus on this little area over here. Nice trade for you, possibly on Aptos. Lower high, obviously big down, or because I want to be bullish here too. This goes here, and you literally got yourself an incredible entry. So it's very important to understand. Let's quickly look at XRP. We spoke about the inverse head and shoulders. Boom. Who got that entry, guys? In the comments there, pop if you got that entry. Because XRP, what did 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗍 actually say this morning that was interesting? Now, I don't think, like, I'm not saying it's 100% correct, but they're basically saying SEC is coming down on all altcoins, saying every one of them, securities, all these sort of things, which is bad. But he's saying, what happens if XRP wins their case? And now all of a sudden you have an altcoin that won its case. Will the rest of them all come up? Everyone just buys XRP. You think so? But, like, will that set a thing? Because think about it now. You have 2 options. Either Binance, Coinbase, they just accept this whole thing now, or they fight it. Now, it's going to cost them a lot of money to fight it, but if they fight it, it can prolong it. And ultimately, if that can play out, it will give us our altcoins a little bit of breathing time because they're coming down really hard on them. But pay attention to XRP, guys. If this decides to break through the highs, I know many of you are holding XRP. I still think you're fine with XRP. I think you can literally put your stops below this wick over here, as I do think it was a manipulated wick. But if XRP gets through here and here, like, it looks really strong at the moment. Like, it really looks good. Then we have a few other tokens. What were the ones you had just now there, Dom?
AGLD is a gaming class token, and it's shown a lot of strength over the last week.
AGLD.
Yeah, it's like hardly trend from that down from Cardano. There's something going on with the gaming thing, the NFTs.
Okay, and then what were the other ones you had there too? So we're paying attention to what's moving. Look at that. Some coins just don't get affected.
FLUX. I don't know what it is fundamentally.
So FLUX, guys, I know many of you have spoken about FLUX before. Let's speak about opportunity. Let's speak about opportunities here. Because I think there's a bounce coming. Guys, I definitely think there's a bounce coming. And if we don't make the high, then we're in shit. And it's time to get into Bitcoin and Ethereum. I agree. But I think when it comes to this, what is that, weekly? Ooh. Now I know many have spoken about FLUX before. And if you look at this trend over here, great trend. And look at that horizontal, bro. This is like its last lifeline. This is the time that it must bounce. Okay, so those who like FLUX, come on, guys. Like, where do you get a better entry than that at the moment? I'm really sorry for any PEPE holders. I'm sorry, your great fundamental coin. I still think there's a huge long coming at some point with PEPE, but I'm done. This thing's wrecked me too many times on shorter time frame leverage. We got PEPE, amazing. We got Lido. Let's see at Lido, still looking okay. Some of these tokens are still looking pretty good at the moment. So it's mainly those SEC tokens that really got smashed. Like really got smashed. Again, you're sitting at a crazy area of support. You had another token. Is that Fetch on the 1 hour? 1 hour, guys. So guys, on the 1 hour, I don't want you to miss this opportunity. I really don't. You're going to be using stop losses. You're going to be using risk to reward. But look at all these tokens. So I want to show you this one as an example. This one, firstly, which I'm pretty sure if I look at the Fibonacci, that we're very much near the 618786. Yes, we are very near over there. But if you look here, guys, they all broke this major support, right? So if I draw the support over here, they lost that major support, okay? Now, it hit the next support area. You have RSIs reset completely. Now, if you zoom into them, look how they're all creating this range. Now, you've seen this many times, guys. This actually looks good, though. This looks really good because if you take the trend over here, there we go. Look at this huge gap. This might actually be very good entries on this pullback over here. But look at this gap. This is where you're going to make money. There is going to be some sort of bullish response to this, guys. There's going to be some sort of bullish response. And look at this big gap over here. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. I literally think something like this. And then I think it's another hammer time. But this is really good opportunities within many altcoins. I would not be missing out the opportunities to trade this market. I really don't. And I think this week, majority of the shows are going to be trading while we wait for this temporary run. But there's a 16 to 20% move on that one there as stand. You had something called Lena.
Yeah, Lena did 40% of the 200-day MA on Saturday morning.
At Lena.
Chinese.
Oof. So what did this do? From bottom,
40% off
47%. Guys, it's exciting. Lift up the energies. Lift up the energies. It's exciting. We want these. I got my 2 trading accounts ready. Guys, remember we have CoinW. So if you go below and you sign up for the US, doesn't need VPN, doesn't need KYC, you can open a CoinW account. Open one with Sniper School. So you can join Sniper School as well. But for the US, you guys can trade this crazy volatile market. Okay, so this is obviously looking really good. Let's see what else. Carver, good bounce. Let's see here on the daily. Why is Luna C still here? This thing's still here and not too much happening at the moment. Okay, guys, I don't want to go on too long here. This week, I'm focusing very much on trading. I think you're crazy if you're not trading this market. Yes, it is a little bit of stoppages, but you get your trade right. You will soon see the massive reward. We have to pay attention to that. When it comes to the long term now, is that OP? OP looks good. When it comes to your long-term portfolio, all the weeklies are reset. We're on major line supports now. If we don't make a higher high on the next, I just bought the dips. Me too, personally. If we don't make a higher high on the next push up in altcoins, which can happen in the next 2-3 weeks, I do think it's time to get into Bitcoin and ETH. I really do. I think this is then a long-term attack because you've got 2 options. This is either a long-term attack that's going to affect altcoins for the next 6 months, or it's altcoin capitulation, where they're literally drilling it. They're making everyone get out of altcoins, and we know what comes next. So I would be taking, if I had any spare cash, I'll be taking 50% to get rid of my shitty entries. So what I mean by that is I either sell off some of my tokens and I rather get, if I got 20 bad entries, I want to get 10 really good ones. If I got spare cash, I'll be adding to the ones that I think are good. I think Solana, Cardano, all of these, I think they're good, guys. Of course, I do think they're good. There's a lot of tax on them right now. I think they're ridiculously cheap. And if that doesn't play out, then we will start to shift into Bitcoin. But I think if you're doing it right now, I think you're making a huge mistake. I really, really, really do. And this is me personally. And I think that it's going to bite us really hard. It kind of feels like this is a huge altcoin trap. I really, really, really do. We want to pay attention to Bitcoin holding 24K this week. And we want to pay attention to breaking the 28K. When that happens, altcoins should push up really strong. And like I said, I think the trading market's really good. Have a fantastic day. Join Sniper School Cohort 6 starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's live event. Go below, sign up for school, 3 basic steps, and come join me in class. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Oh, no show tomorrow, guys. No live show, but I will be dropping a recording, education. Make sure you watch it. And I'm back on Wednesday. Have a fantastic day. Much love, fam.